Ohio River in the Queen City of Cincinnati and Riverfront Stadium. The Bengals go in search of victory number 1 on the season against their longtime rivals in the AFC Central, the 4-3 Pittsburgh Steelers. And good afternoon, everybody. Along with Dan Hampton, I'm Drew Goodman. As Don Shula goes after Papa Bear Hallis today in victory number 325, his son David in search of his first victory on the season. But that 0-7 mark, Dan, is a little bit deceiving. They've been 1 or 2 plays away in a number of ball games this year, and they get a veteran at quarterback, a guy who's used to winning, Jay Schrader.
Well, they think Jay Schrader gives them the best chance of winning right now. Now, they have either been even or ahead at halftime 4 of the 7 losses. So what they have to do is put it together for 4 complete quarters today.
On the other side of the field, the Steelers at 4-3 feel they should be 5-2. They blew one up in Cleveland. Eric Metcalf went nuts on punt returns. They have Barry Foster. You know all about him. They have that great defense, the top-ranked defense in the NFL. But they also have a quarterback that is becoming very, very special, Neil O'Donnell.
Well, I think he is the leader of the offense. We know Barry Foster's a great running back. They've got a great defense, but Neil O'Donnell is a guy that brings a certain kind of toughness and poise to this offense. Now, the last 4 games, he's thrown for at least 63% completion ratio. This guy is ready to go.
And Bill Cowher has stressed that his team will be ready to go. They are not overlooking the Cincinnati Bengals. That happened to them earlier when they went out to the Coliseum in Los Angeles and got shut out by the Rams and started the season 0-2. The 2 youngest coaches in the NFL, Cowher at 36, David Shula on the other sideline at 34. The Bengals have won the toss. Ryan Benjamin and Patrick Robinson back deep. It'll be Benjamin, the rookie out of Pacific. And he'll get it across the 20 to the 25-yard line, and that is where Cincinnati will begin offensively. The quarterback's the veteran, Jay Schrader, in his 10th year out of UCLA. A guy who's won 65% of his ball games. Of course, he's played with some pretty good teams, the Redskins and the Raiders. Tom Scott's a rookie at left tackle. Kozerski is enjoying a very good year at center, the former guard. The skill people for the Bengals, Harold Green, not the kind of numbers he had last year, at least so far, when he was over 1,000 yards. Estelle Miles gets the start. Derek Fenner can't go. He has a bad ankle. Here's the toss sweep. Here's Green. He'll turn the corner, 32, 34-yard line, and he ran there, Dan, with a great deal of assertiveness.
Well, Harold Green is a guy that is coming off of a lot of hamstring problems. Now, if he can go today and go like that play and really push the ball upfield, it'll make a lot easier for this Cincinnati offense to come on track. Now, they really have built this offense around a ground game. Last year, he went to the Pro Bowl, rushing for well over 1,000 yards. If he can do it again this year, he needs to get started this afternoon.
2nd and 1 for Schrader and the Cincinnati offense. They go toss sweep the other way. Green, not quite as much room. He'll get 3, but he does pick up the first down. Pittsburgh plays an odd front. They have the top defense in the NFL, the top defense against the run. Steed, in his 2nd year out of Colorado, has been terrific this year. Green and Lloyd are 2 Pro Bowlers on the outside. Chad Brown is a rookie getting his first career start also from Colorado. What can you say about Rod Woodson? David Shula told us yesterday he thinks he's the MVP in the league so far. I don't think you get too many people with an argument. And there is Woodson with 7 picks already on the year. 1st and 10 for the Bengals. They're on 37. Green, not much. Joel Steed got rid of Kozerski, the center, and made the tackle after perhaps a yard.
That's going to be the problem today for Cincinnati. They feel like the guys in the interior of the Steeler defense are so effective at stopping the run. They're very quick, they're very elusive, and it's hard to get a helmet on them. That time, Joel Steed, the nose tackle, took a gap and clearly beat the center Kozerski.
Cincinnati's offense is ranked 26th in the league. Their rushing attack 27. Wide side, they go to Query, the 5-year man out of Milliken, in front of D.J. Johnson. It's a short advance, and it'll set up 3rd down and fairly long yardage. Certainly a throwing down, you would figure.
Well, what they're trying to do is be able to run that play action and, of course, buy a little time for Schrader. Now, Schrader is a big, strong quarterback with a gun arm. If they can sell the run well enough to get that play action fake to work, they could work the Steeler defense over on those intermediate routes.
There's Query's numbers on the year. Ryan Benjamin is checked into the backfield on 3rd down and 6. Schrader's got a man wide open. It's Benjamin. He'll cross midfield to the 44-yard line. And the fans here in Cincinnati, who have not had a lot to cheer about this year, something early to get excited about. Ryan Benjamin, who did so many things well at Pacific University.
Well, Brian Benjamin is their answer to Meggett and Metcalf. David Shula said, this guy is very exciting. We need to get him activated, get him out there, get the ball in his hands, and you can see what he can do when he does.
First career moment for Ryan Benjamin. 1st down and 10, Harold Green, and this looks like the Green of a year ago. Rod Woodson had to make the tackle, but it's an advance of perhaps 7 yards on 1st down. He has been better and better, the coaching staff has told us the last couple of weeks.
Well, that's the thing. You know, you cannot perform if you're injured, and Harold Green has been battling a pulled hamstring, a sore hamstring, and here you see the kind of cuts that got him to Hawaii last year. Now, they're running the ball up inside against those young inside linebackers and then breaking it off and getting some yardage outside.
2nd down and 3. And whistles blow this dead, and Cincinnati fans, if they hear a false start, it might nauseate
false
them.
Start, 64, offense, still 2nd down.
That's the center. And our referee today, Johnny Greer.
On the top of the screen, number 64, Kenny Davidson, comes off a little bit quick there trying to get a jump. But still, this is an offense that has got to do the things necessary to keep from making big mistakes. And in talking with the Bengal players this week, the point kept coming up. We can't do things that put us in a hole and make these stupid bonehead mistakes.
Schrader with time. Query at the 1st down marker at the 33 in front of DJ Johnson. I mentioned the false start a moment ago. This is one of the most penalized teams in the NFL, and they've been penalized about 2-to-1 compared to their opponents this year in a number of false starts, Dan. They had 6 in one game. You can't win doing that.
Well, a lot of it has to do with injuries along the offensive line, had to make shuffling necessary. Now they're back where they've got guys where they feel comfortable in their certain positions. They should eliminate a lot of that this afternoon.
Opening possession of the ball game, Cincinnati on the move. Harold Green gets his hips and shoulders turned, and he'll get about 4 yards, 4 tough yards before Chad Brown, 94, the rookie who played outside at Colorado where he was an All-American, made the tackle from his inside linebacker position. Guy who likes snakes. Now, you like snakes, Dan, don't you?
No, I don't.
Good,
No.
because I don't either.
No. This young man right here has probably got an awful lot of respect as a rookie because a lot of guys don't want to get him on their bad side, knowing they might find a constrictor in their locker.
That's right.
They get on his wrong side.
There's a lot of journalists out there who want to get on his bad side. Harold Green followed up right away. Kenny Davidson in 95 in there. Greg Lloyd. Believe me, folks, will call his name plenty today.
Well, again, the Pittsburgh defense is great at adjusting. They do an awful lot of things where they move at the snap of the ball. They're penetrating. They're trying to create the situation where you can't get a big helmet on their linebackers, let them make all the plays, and sooner or later, if you keep running right at them, those inside linebackers, those outside linebackers, it's going to be hard to get down.
They need the 23-yard line. Ryan Benjamin again, the only running back. Blitz coming. Red. And McGee works his way to the 1st down. The rookie out of Michigan. 2nd-round pick this year. 6'3" and 246. And he carried a tackler for the 1st down.
Well, the Pittsburgh defense went to what I used to call the bear. You see the 3 defensive linemen in the middle, bringing Lloyd and Green. Jay Schrader, 10 years of experience, recognized that right off the bat. Ran a little quick out to McGee, the tight end. They got the 1st down.
Parnell Lake, a very sure tackler, was the man he carried. 1st and 10. Harold Green, another pretty solid gain on 1st down before Chad Brown made initial contact.
Carries for Cincinnati.
Green, last year, 1,170 yards rushing. As Dan mentioned, a Pro Bowl. He averaged 4.4 a carry. This year, just 184 yards and 2.3 a pop.
Again, you got your big hoss injured, and you can't count on a guy like that to get those 4.5 yards to carry, and it really throws the entire offense out of sync. Now, healthy, it looks like they're going to give him the chance to get back on the track.
All sorts of red zone problems this year for the Bengals. Green, good job by Rod Woodson. He can't only cover, but he'll force also.
The great thing about the Pittsburgh defense is they have such great quickness and speed. They can play man, they can play zone, they can do whatever they have to do to fit the certain offense they're playing against. Right here, you'll see Woodson up in a man-on position. He realizes, hey, it's a pitch. I can force. I don't have to worry about the receiver. Goes after, makes the tackle.
Third down and about 5 here. Schrader's been perfect. He's 4 of 4. They need the 12-yard line. They go to Benjamin, and the Steelers read it all the way. They closed that down in a hurry. Lloyd, Kevin Green also in there.
Stopped by Greg Lloyd.
So David Shula will have to send on the field goal unit.
At the 15-yard
it'll be
line.
another rookie. They have a number of rookies. They have 15 rookies and 30 guys with less than 1 year experience in the NFL.
Well, the best way to get young guys to believe is to be able to move the ball down the field and get something out of this drive. Those rookies are going to act like, hey, this isn't that tough against this number 1 ranked defense.
Pelfrey's hit 8 in a row, and he has this one on through. So Doug Pelfrey nails the field goal, and Cincinnati with a successful opening drive here at home. They lead 3-0. There's the dangerous Rod Woodson, and he talked earlier in the week about how he loves to return punts and kicks.
To me, it's just the way I can get my hands on the ball more, and you know, I enjoy doing that. I enjoy returning kicks, punt returning kickoff returns. And you can turn the tide of a game by doing that.
Yes, you can, and he has turned the tide of a lot of football games.
Well, again, you know, he may be the defensive MVP, but returning kicks like he does, he could be the total MVP of the league.
And they kick it away from him. It'll be Dwight Stone who can really motor. 32-yard line knocked down on special teams by Wesley Carroll. And Stone will stay on the field on the offensive side of the football. The quarterback is Neil O'Donnell, and O'Donnell has been special the last few weeks. The offensive line, John Jackson, he's given up just 3 sacks in the last 2 years. Dermontti Dawson might be the best center in all of football. It's a very fine offensive line. There's O'Donnell. Foster will carry the ball 25-plus times. Eric Green is playing very well at tight end. He's enormous. O'Donnell to the air right away, and he overthrows Tim Jordan, the other tight end. For Cincinnati, here's how their front 7 looks. They also go with an odd front. John Copeland, the big rookie out of Alabama, is coming along. Tim Crumry, he's been there forever on the nose. James Francis did not play in the opening game against these two teams. Alfred Williams played only 4 plays. So Shula happy that he'll have those guys around, the outside backers. Darrell Williams, he says at free safety, might be the best free safety in football nobody talks about. Here's Foster, and the Cincinnati defense doesn't give him much. Steve Tovar, making his first start at inside linebacker, number 51 was there. He played his college football up the road in Columbus.
Well, they know what they have in Steve Tovar. Now, here's a young man that's big, a physical guy that they really feel is so athletic. They've got to get him on the field more, making a start inside. And the thing they like about him, he's very aware of where the ball is. A great special teams player. He won the Ike Kelly Award, which is for the MVP of the special teams. So you know he has great awareness in finding the ball.
3rd down and 7. Eric Green goes in motion. O'Donnell, time, and confusion on the read route with his receiver. And O'Donnell and the Pittsburgh offense 3 and out.
Well, Dwight Stone was in the vicinity, but it looks like Stone turned off way too soon. Just miscommunication and very uncharacteristic of the way Neil O'Donnell has been throwing the ball.
Mark Royals Patrick Robinson at his 23-yard line. And a good play on special teams downfield. 3-0, Cincinnati will step away from Riverfront.
Acura, some things are worth the price. By Keystone, Keystone Light and Keystone Dry. Bottled beer taste in a can. Wouldn't that be great? By New Sierra, it's not just antifreeze, it's safety freeze. And by Schick Tracer, it traces every curve on your face.
Jay Schrader and the Cincinnati offense, they were good until they got in the red zone, and they couldn't punch it in the end zone, settled for a 32-yard Doug Pelfrey field goal. Along with Dan Hampton, I'm Drew Goodman. Glad you're along this afternoon from Riverfront. The 0-7 Bengals, the 4-3 Steelers. Harold Green diving to the 30, and this does not look like a team that has struggled running the football all year.
Well, when you talk to the Steelers, and before this game, they all said, hey, you know, these guys are scary. They traditionally play us very tough, and it's like quicksand. You don't know how dangerous it is till you wade out there in it. Now, you see an offensive team making its mind up to run the ball on the ground, and I don't care if Pittsburgh has the #1 ranked defense or not. It looks like Cincinnati has made up their mind, and it's going to be a tough thing for Pittsburgh to slow them down.
2nd and 6. Ooh, very, very close to Carnell Lake maybe picking that off and going the other way. The pass intended for Estelle Miles, the second-year man out of the University of Houston.
Carnell Lake is a guy that a lot of folks kind of forget about. He's played very well for a number of years, and you know, with Rod Woodson in the backfield, he normally gets all the publicity, but there you see Carnell Lake make such a great break on the ball. It's almost as if he read the pattern. And you talk to the Cincinnati offensive people, they say, hey, all these guys on defense are learning what Woodson does. He reads the pattern and goes to where the ball will be, not where the receiver is.
Bengals 2 for 2 on the opening drive on 3rd down. Schrader, time. Schrader will have it 3 for 3. Slides down at the 44-yard line. Donald Evans covered him up there, and there comes the flag. And I was wondering if that would come in.
Well, if you're a defensive guy, hey, you want to hit somebody. I mean, the guy gets a first down, you think, I can get a shot on him for at least for, you know, getting a first down. But in the game today, you cannot go in on a quarterback who has given himself up by going feet first. Schrader going back. The Steelers running a little twist on the right side. They get a good cave out by Koserski. Opens the field up to Schrader.
Unnecessary roughness. Defense. First down.
And you see, of course, Donald Evans coming in there late. Now the quarterback's giving up. Don't touch him. That's easily correctable, but I promise you, he will hear about that. He should know better than that. He's a good player, and you cannot hit those quarterbacks. They give themselves up. They may pull their skirt up a little bit, but you can't hit them.
Bill Cowher stressed again for 2 weeks. He said, we will be ready to play the Bengals. We cannot afford not to be ready. We have a very tough November. I'll tell you about that in a moment. And Schrader will be done. Kevin Green, the free agent over from the Los Angeles Rams, sack number 5.5 now on the year.
Kevin Green is an impact ball player. Here, getting up the field, working on the back. It's a mismatch. You hear that so often, but you cannot have a running back try and block Kevin Green. He is too physical. I've seen this man take 300-pounders and toss them around like potato bags. Not a running back. That time, Estelle Miles, a fullback, was no match.
Loss of 10 on the play. 2nd and 20. They're going to go reverse to Query. He's got a blocker, and he'll get a few yards. Actually, he'll get about 8 or 9. Back to the 44-yard line. Chad Brown finally tracked him down. Jeff Query.
And talking with the Bengals yesterday, they were intent on mixing it up. They're going to do some different things and make the Steeler defense with that great speed respect all aspects of the game. Now, you run a reverse, you're going to make sure that backside pursuit stays on its side and doesn't over-pursue. Keeping this defense honest, that's the only way you have a chance. And if you can do that, you're halfway there.
They need the 33-yard line. Schrader drops the ball. And this is reminiscent of things they've done wrong all season long. Jay Schrader was down inside the 10-yard line, goal to go 2 weeks ago down in Houston, a chance to go ahead of the Oilers late in the football game. He was scrambling around, flat dropped it.
Well, again, you cannot make mistakes like this. The ball hits Schrader in the hands. Jay was looking off at the safety, seeing what the motion was. Common error. You've got to watch it in. It's a very common thing for the Cincinnati Bengals this season.
Lee Johnson kicks it to Rod Woodson. He'll have a chance. Not much of one. Big hit downfield on special teams. It was Eric Shaw who got him. Gas quarterback efficiency ratings. Montana at the head of the class, as he generally is. Marino obviously out for the year. Neil O'Donnell's number 5. David Klingler, Cincinnati, who has a sore back, is number 12. Now, a couple of weeks ago at Houston, of course, last week was a bye week for these two teams. Jay Schrader had a goal-to-go situation, and here's what occurred as he was scrambling around. Just flat lost the football, Dan Hampton. And we are back live, and a good play defensively by John Copeland, the number 1 out of Alabama.
Well, John Copeland is a guy that they drafted to anchor this defensive line. Now, of course, he is in there with the veteran Tim Krumrie and George Hinkle at the other end, but they really have high expectations for John Copeland. He made a lot of big plays the first 4 weeks. Since then, kind of a plateau. They feel once he gets that next step, he'll be as good as they can get.
Bama could have used him yesterday. O'Donnell all day. Good catch over the middle. Jeff Graham paid for it. Darrell Williams gave him a kiss, but it'll be a first down for the Pittsburgh Steelers, their initial first down of the ball game.
Well, O'Donnell told us they were going ahead and get the ball up the field. They're going to find some of the big targets, some of the guys on the outside. Here, you'll see O'Donnell go back. Copeland on the outside on your right comes in. He gets good pressure. But again, O'Donnell, who has great vision, picks the right man.
Barry Foster cutting it back. We'll get a couple. John Copeland brought him down. Let's go to New York for an NFL update with Jim Lampley.
All right, Drew, we'll show you the first touchdown of the day in the Astrodome. First possession for the Oilers. Warren Moon on fire. Caps it off with a 3-yard TD throw to AFC leading receiver Webster Slaughter. Oilers lead 7-0 early. Could make Rick Meyer's job even tougher. Back to Drew.
All right, Jim, thanks very much. Here in Cincinnati, the first quarter winding down, and the Bengals with a 3-0 lead. And after being demolished at Three Rivers earlier in the year, 34-7 by the Steelers, they have played well, at least here in the first quarter. O'Donnell, time breaking down. He gets away, and a good catch by Graham as he climbed the ladder in front of Lance Gunn. A lot of work for about a 2-yard gain.
Well, again, you talk about being efficient. O'Donnell doesn't make those critical mistakes when he is under pressure.
That's the end of the first chapter here at Riverfront. The Bengals leading Bills Tower, and the Steelers 3-0. But his team didn't have the football much in the first quarter, and he trails 3-0 right now. Drew Goodman, Dan Hampton, Riverfront Stadium, Cincinnati. The Steelers 3rd and 5, and should we focus in on the big fella? 86, Eric Green. They go Green's direction. James Francis had outstanding coverage.
Eric Green has become the go-to guy on 3rd and short, and today's challenge to the Bengals was, of course, how will James Francis, coming back from injury, play on this guy right here? A lot of people think is the most dangerous tight end in the league. That time, superb job by James Francis.
Here's Royals' punt to Robinson. Robinson from the 18. Robinson, open field, flag comes down in the area of an illegal block. He gets it out to midfield before Royals, the punter, had to bring him down, but this one has all the markings of coming back the other way. And the story continues with Cincinnati. Every time they make a positive gain this year, they have had a referee pointing in their direction with a yellow flag in his hand.
Well, you know, a lot of that is it's almost desperation. A lot of guys, they really are trying too hard to make something happen.
Illegal block on the return, number 36.
That time, Austell Miles, the fullback, a little anxious.
Hi, Super Dave Osborne here, getting ready to roll across the country, singing the praises of these great-looking Hager wrinkle-free cotton pants. You know the ones, 100% cotton, wrinkle-free, out of the dryer, no ironing. I'll be covering more than 25,000 miles wearing these beauties. So come out and see me. I just wonder if Hager knows they're paying me by the mile. Uh-oh. Yahoo! Oh!
Hager wrinkle-free cottons. 100% cotton, 0% wrinkles.
They're still not wrinkled.
Gulf of Mexico, where world-class fishermen like Jim come to battle the big boys.
Jim, you got one.
Yeah, hey, this calls for a celebration. How about a cold O'Doul's?
Thanks.
Only 70 calories and non-alcohol, because out here, you never know what's biting.
When you want the refreshing taste of beer without all the alcohol, think O'Doul's. It's what beer drinkers drink when they're not drinking beer.
As your engine revs higher, the oil forms a hydrodynamic wedge, protecting your engine parts. But as your oil's viscosity breaks down, so can the wedge. That's why Castrol GTX has unique viscosity improvers. Castrol provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol, because if your viscosity breaks down, what's next? Castrol GTX. Now get a free officially licensed NFL team football when you buy a case of Castrol GTX.
Coming up next, the L.A. Raiders, led by quarterback Jeff Hostetler and their tenacious D, blow into the Windy City to take on the Chicago Bears. Next on NBC.
The long return by Robinson, wiped out by an illegal block by the man hiding there, Austell Miles, and it's correctable, isn't it, Dan?
Well, it really is. You know, little things mean a lot. Here you'll see it come from the right side. At the top left of your screen, they're getting his helmet behind the cover man. Just stand there. Make him come through you. Don't hit him.
So the Bengals back deep in their own territory, swinging out of the backfield, Harold Green. Brought down finally by Kevin Green, Chad Brown, and a couple of other Steelers. Greg Lloyd also there.
That's a very effective play for this Bengal offense, and a lot of times it was Derek Finner, a guy who wasn't able to go today, out there catching that ball in the quick streak. They had the offensive tackle come, kick the corner out, and you can make some pretty good yardage with that.
Second and short. Green, they tell us, is playing with a very tight hamstring. You would not know it by his performance earlier in this game. Schrader, trouble coming. He gets it away and just throws it away. Tony McGee was the closest Bengal, and Kevin Green was covering him there.
Again, Pittsburgh going with a different defensive front. They've got the bear look, the three guys in the middle, the two outside linebackers, Green and Lloyd, coming, trying to put some pressure on Jay Schrader. Now, of course, Bill Coward knows his defense is an attack-style defense, and he's trying to force Schrader into some bad decisions. That's what happened there.
Poor most of the year on third down. Today, pretty good so far. Down the middle, away. Was that the official who got a piece of it, the umpire? Tony McGee was the intended target. It'll be a punting situation now for Cincinnati.
Well, the rookie Tony McGee is a guy that David Shule is very excited about. On the right of your screen, you see him try to push off there, and then, hey, there's too many people in there. You got to get some guys cleared out so he can catch the ball.
Ed Kukart, the umpire, could have made the reception. He was in the best position to do so. Lee Johnson hangs one up, and Rod Woodson will make the fair catch, 36-yard line. Pittsburgh yet to get untracked offensively. On the road, trails Cincinnati 3-0. We have a flag down. And it'll be an illegal man downfield for the Bengals. So will Pittsburgh give Rod Woodson another chance?
Well, I think, of course, they will have to kick again because Pittsburgh feels they can improve on position. But, you know, when you talk to Bill Cowher, the first thing he said yesterday when we visited with him was, I hate these second bye weeks. And I think you can tell that his team is a little bit flat, a little bit out of sync today. They're not really firing on all 8 cylinders.
The eligible man of the kicking team, downfield, number 51, will re-kick.
And what he's trying to do is kind of feel Cincinnati out. Cincinnati's playing very hard on offense, but just stay with them, and then maybe, just maybe, his guy, Ron Woodson, can make a big play on special teams to fire up the entire team.
To a man, everybody we talked to associated with the Steelers said we're not overlooking the Bengals. We did that earlier in the year against the Rams and got our tails handed to us. They were shut out. This is a better effort, though, by Johnson. Woodson backtracks to his 29. Trying to get to the wall. And he gets out to about the 39-yard line before he was brought down by Randy Kirk, the man who snapped the football. So good effort by Johnson on the punt. The Bengals lead it 3-0. Stations, it's game 2 of our NFL doubleheader. Many of you will see the Los Angeles Raiders take on the Chicago Bears. Others will see a classic matchup between the Dolphins and the New York Jets from the Meadowlands. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Welcome back to Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. There's Neil O'Donnell, the quarterback of Pittsburgh, who his coach says has a calming effect on everybody. He's very relaxed.
Well, he's got great poise. He says he gets that from his mom and gets great toughness from his dad. That works.
However, you got to get it done. Play action pass. They got the screen set up, and Foster would have had some room, but it's incomplete. While we have a moment, let's go to New York and Jim Lampley once again.
And Drew will take you to the Metrodome to look at the Chargers trying to recreate last season's midseason hot streak. Here, Marion Butts heads into the end zone. No Beavis in sight. San Diego leading Minnesota 7-0 second quarter. Back to Drew.
All right, Jim, the Chargers are a tough team to figure out, aren't they, Dan?
Mm-hmm. About as tough as Ditka's wardrobe.
I'll leave that one alone. 2nd and 10 for the Steelers. O'Donnell under some pressure. Now down the middle, it's complete. Good catch, flip side of the 50s. Dwight Stones in front of Darrell Williams.
We talked about how O'Donnell's passing efficiency has been so good because he sees the entire field now. The guys he's wanting to go to is, of course, Eric Green at tight end, Barry Foster. He hasn't gotten it done now. He's 3 of 7, all 3 to his wide out. So what Cincinnati's doing is doing a good job of taking away the guys underneath, and he'll have to go to the 2nd, 3rd guys. There you see the big man is well covered.
Stone goes in motion, 15-yard advance. They go away from the motion, and Barry Foster dumped by Eric Shaw, who's 4th on the Bengals defense in tackles, the 2nd-year man out of Louisiana Tech. Have you ever seen a team, Dan, with so many new faces, 30 players on their roster who haven't played a full year in the NFL?
Yeah, and of course, you know, when you go 0-7, all these young guys don't know if this is the way it's supposed to be, and they kind of get disillusioned. And a lot of the veterans are saying, hey, it's important that we keep playing hard, keep trying to keep these young guys focused, because normally they're quitting at this time. We can't have them quit on us.
2nd and 9. Pressure coming. O'Donnell scrambling and has to throw it away. Jeff Graham was well covered on the play. Copeland was the man applying the pressure.
Eric Shaw, the inside linebacker, gets great penetration. You'll see here he lines up in a down stance, getting some pressure. Again, Eric Green, the mammoth tight end, is doubled there. They got Steve Tovar, the inside linebacker, and the safety Lance Gunn working him over. Now, if you take away an offense main man, it takes more time for the quarterback to find the next guys. They're getting some pressure. Cincinnati's playing very well on defense right now.
O'Donnell, great coverage. Mike Brand had the good coverage on Ernie Mills. And the Steelers, after getting to the 46-yard line of Cincinnati, are turned away.
Well, Ron Lynn, the defensive coordinator for Cincinnati, has a great game plan today. They're taking away what Pittsburgh wants to do. They haven't been able to run it. They haven't been able to get it to the tight end. They're struggling.
Royals hangs it up, and Patrick Robinson has to dive to make the catch. Check that. It's Carl Pickens downfield. Bengals with 11:45 to go in the second. Still leading 3-0.
Your teeth aren't flat, are they?
NBC is brought to you by the new Chevy S-Series line of trucks. So new from the inside out, everything else is history. By Hager Wrinkle-Free Cotton Pants. 100% cotton, 0% wrinkles. By O'Doul's. It's what beer drinkers drink when they're not drinking beer. And by Wendy's Super Value Menu and Value-Priced Kids Meal. There's something for everyone.
Joel Steed, the nose tackle, the second-year man out of Colorado, is out of the lineup. Groin pull. They say he might not be back. So Gerald Williams, who used to play nose tackle, moves down to the defensive end position. Harold Green trying to cut it back. And he breaks tackles out to the 20-yard line in advance of 5 when there wasn't a whole lot cooking. And that offensive line, Dan, is doing a pretty solid job.
Well, they really have so far in this game, and that's one thing that Bruce Kuzerski, the center, who's really should be playing guard, is playing center because they've had so many injuries that they've had to basically scramble this line. And for the first time this year, it looks like they've gotten a very consistent effort out of all 5. Tom Scott, the big guy on the left side, the rookie, has done a good job on Greg Lloyd heretofore.
Little slant pattern, first down, it's Query to the 32-yard line. DJ Johnson made the hit there, but good connection from Jay Schrader, who's now 6 of 9 in the early going in advance of 11 yards.
Well, Jeff Query is one of those guys that is like a thorn in your side. I mean, you don't really think about him much before the game, but after the game, he's got 6, 5, 4 catches for 50, 80 yards. He's a guy that keeps drives alive. He's kind of like a life support system to a quarterback.
By the way, do you know where Milliken College is, his alma mater?
No idea. I don't really care. All I know is he's a player.
Green gets about 2 or 3. Carnell Lake came up from a strong safety position. Also Donald Evans in there, number 66. For what it's worth, Decatur, Illinois.
I don't think you can get there from here.
No,
I don't know.
You're right.
I won't.
I thought it was like Milton College. Maybe it was defunct. But
he's a guy that's got sneaky speed. And talking with Schrader, he says, you know, we said, who's the guy that you could lay it out and have go get it? Where's one of the guys he talked about?
He's listed at only 155 pounds. Harold Green, the workhorse, that's his 12th carry of the ball game. He has 43 yards rushing. Again, this is a team that averages about 3.3 a carry coming in.
Well, what they do here is they just try to seal the backside there. You see the big guys, and then on the right side, Joe Walter, the number 72, getting a great kick-out block there on 64, Kenny Davidson now. Remember, with Steed out, Gerald Williams, the normal left end, is on the nose with a bad knee. That could weaken the front an awful lot.
Third down, they need about 6. They got to get across the 43-yard line, and they keep it on the ground. This is Ryan Benjamin. And he runs out of room, and Rod Woodson bounced him out shy of the first down. So conservative goes the offense, and Mike Pope for Cincinnati.
Well, you know, that's one thing that I think when you're 0-7, you got to take a chance every chance you get, and you really shouldn't be going conservative. You really got to open it up, make some smart decisions, but open it up. I mean, you're playing a good team. You got to be a good team on offense and make some creative things happen.
So Lee Johnson again will punt it deep to Rod Woodson. And this one is shacked off the side of his foot. It's caught by the quarterback, Neil O'Donnell. The only problem is O'Donnell was standing out of bounds at the 44-yard line.
Ron Woodson had an awful lot to do with that. You don't want to kick it to him.
18-yard punt.
Okay, guys. Hey, Christian, do you remember where we parked the van?
There's only one minivan with a remote control sliding door. Built-in child seats. Anti-lock brakes. And driver's side airbag. Chevy Luna takes good care of your family. It even has composite body panels to take care of itself. Lumina. It looks different because it is different.
Highway 421 near Spivey's Corner, North Carolina. Not exactly the place you expect to find a busy accounting firm like Duval and Dean. But thanks to Sprint...
Lee Johnson, one of the AFC's better punters. He's averaging close to 46 yards a punt. Not on his last effort, though.
Well, he'll get a little flash of pressure on his left side, but believe me, you go into a game against Rod Woodson returning the kick, you think, I can't give it to him on a platter. I've got to make him move a little bit. That time, he's just a pure shank.
Ernie Mills goes in motion. Steelers, best field position of the game. O'Donnell got his big tight end finally. Eric Green came free. He'll have a first down, 44-yard line of Cincinnati in front of Mike Brim. Is he frightening? They say he's 285.
Hey, he looks like a runaway dump truck when you're down there on the field watching him run towards you. If I was a corner, I would just, I think I'd crawl in a hole. But one sure way to get the ball to a tight end is run the old counter bootleg. You get everybody going that way, bring the tight end back across and let him run away from the linebacker. Works every time.
They say his blocking has improved tremendously. Bill Cowher's very happy with Eric Green. Barry Foster. A flag comes down as he rips off his best run of the game, and it came down in the area of holding. It was thrown by the umpire. And Johnny Greer confirms our speculation.
Well, Pittsburgh likes to go with two tight ends, and today their second tight end, Adrian Cooper, is not playing, so, it's going to be
holding. 65, offense.
That's
still first down.
Left tackle, John Jackson, a guy that's really having a great year, was called on that last play. And again, Adrian Cooper's a guy that you get used to, and he's a fine player, and now he's out. Tim Jordan will be in, and so, things that used to be simple and expected, now you got to make adjustments. That time it looks like John Jackson was called.
Big difference in total offense. Who would have thunk that? Foster's got room. Great block downfield. Barry Foster, the 30, the 20 inside there. Big run by Barry Foster. Mike Grimm finally brought him down. Great block downfield by John Jackson. He made amends for the hold.
At the Bengals 16-yard line.
Earlier today, I said, this offense is a running game that looks like it's based on a plan that doesn't include hospitalization. There you see 65, John Jackson fighting Steve Tovar 20 yards down the field. When they are hitting on all cylinders, this offensive line wants to get after you. That's the first time it looked like they really felt good about getting out and getting in front of Foster.
Barry Foster had 5 yards on 4 carries before that 31-yard jaunt. Here's the bootleg. O'Donnell showing some athleticism. Will slide inside the 10 to the 6. Big John Copeland covered him up there. Neil O'Donnell, they say, he's a guy that's got to stay in the pocket.
Well, I don't think you can put a guy like this guy in his pocket and not let him make some plays here. You're supposed to do a little roll there. Gets away from Alfred Williams. And again, Alfred Williams is a first-round pick, a guy that you expect to make that play. Again, the little things mean a lot. Now it's first and goal on about the 6-yard line. It should have been a sack. The Cincinnati defense is playing hard, but they're making a few mistakes, and O'Donnell and the Steelers are capitalizing on it.
It's actually just shy of a first down. 2nd and 1. Foster doesn't see much, puts his head down, and will be very close to the 6. Steve Tovar made the tackle, the 3rd-round selection out of Ohio State, and it is in fact a first down. 1st and goal at the 6-yard line. Deepest penetration for the Steelers so far today, and when they get it in the red zone, they're outstanding. 26 times this year, plus 20-yard line, 22 scores, 11 touchdowns. and even better than that in goal-to-go situations. O'Donnell to the air, it's intercepted. Darrell Williams, the free safety, folks, he's gone. 96 yards.
Is a guy that everyone here in Cincinnati knows is a great player. Doesn't get a lot of publicity, but you talk to the coaching staff, they know they've got a Pro Bowl type guy playing free safety. That time he makes a Pro Bowl type play, and you know you can't say enough about the patience of that Bengals defense. And again, normally Neil O'Donnell would not throw the ball into coverage like that. It was just a terrific play by Darrell Williams to take it and go the distance.
Offense. It'll be a 5-yard penalty and re-kick.
David Shula can't celebrate too long because the Bengals celebrated too long. Watch again here.
Well, when you're 0-7, you've got to take a chance every chance you get. If he doesn't make that interception, it's a touchdown. But that's what you've got to do. You've got to take charge and make something happen. That time, Darrell Williams makes a Pro Bowl type play.
Pelfrey misses the extra point 2 weeks in a row. Well, last week was a bye week, but 2 games in a row against Houston. Their first touchdown, he missed the extra point. So instead of 10-0, it's 9-0.
What is the color of a giggle? What is the sound of the sun going down? With 3 hours of breathtaking picture and sound on a single tape, and instant playback at the touch of a button, nothing portrays the moments that color our lives like a Sony Handycam camcorder. It's your life. Isn't it worth a Sony?
You've waited for a Buick. You've waited for Buick quality at a low sticker price. You've waited for a car with Buick's reputation for safety. It seems you've waited for a century. Buick Century with standard driver airbag, anti-lock.
Johnson kicks off. Rod Woodson, 4-yard line. Tumbled at the 20. 56, Ricardo McDonald down on special teams. Darrell Williams is a guy that was a 2-time All-American at Miami, and David Shula said, if I had to pick 2 MVPs on our winless football team this year, it'd be Carl Pickens offensively and number 31 on defense.
Well, when you've got a guy at free safety that has this type of range, a guy that can force on the run and, of course, go and make the pick and take it the distance, it makes your defense a heck of a lot more effective. And that quicksand, well, I think Pittsburgh's in about waist deep right now.
And O'Donnell loses the football. Cincinnati's got it. Vincent fell on the football. Fernandez-Vincent, who's the backup to Darrell Williams. So free safety, the hot spot right now.
2 plays in a row. The Bengal defense gets picked up by first Darrell Williams, and then the strong safety, Lance Gunn, is hurt. Fernandez-Vincent comes in and makes another big play. That time, front right. Does a great job, Shuck and Dermani. It wasn't a very secure handoff there to the quarterback. Fumble, Vincent picks it up. Cincinnati back on the 20, ready to score again. You know, that's something. A couple of weeks off, you'll have that happen every time. They don't like this double bye week.
They go straight ahead to Harold Green at the 20. Rod Woodson is out of the football game right now, and Deion Figures is in at a cornerback. He hobbled off, and there he is trying to walk off an ankle, it looks like. Whatever happened to right after a turnover, Dan, going up top, trying to strike quickly?
Well, again, remember, they went very conservative on the last 3rd down and 6th play. I think you have to do that. I think, of course, defenses are waiting, but you've got to go for the juggler. They've got Pittsburgh in a position. They're up by 9. Go for it.
Good pass protection down the middle. First down. Tony McGee, the rising star at tight end. The 2nd-round pick out of Michigan will have Cincinnati 1st and goal at the 8.
Most tight ends are asked to be a great blocker. Now, they know that Tony McGee is a great blocker, but David Shula says, hey, this guy, when I said, who's your big play guys, he mentioned Tony McGee, who is just a rookie. This guy has got star potential. He keeps making plays like that. It won't be long before everybody's calling him that.
22 receptions on the year for McGee. Good recognition by Schrader. He tried to get it to the number 2 tight end, David Fritch, but Pittsburgh was all over that play. And good news for the Steelers. Rod Woodson has walked off whatever minor injury he had and is back in the lineup.
Well, we talked about how Pittsburgh has a very attacking style of defense. So far, Cincinnati's done a good job of keeping them off balance, moving the ball around. And I think Jay Schrader is a guy that's playing a very headsy game. If they give him the green line, I think he could make a lot more good things happen.
Harold Green met right in the hole. Kenny Davidson made initial contact. And then Gerald Williams on the nose. So it'll set up 3rd down and goal. Ball just inside the 8-yard line.
A lot of folks are saying, why are they running the ball up inside for no gain all these times? Well, again, if you want your play action passes to work, you've got to pay the price, and that's how you do it. That's your ante up, be able to get somebody open out of the backfield.
Maybe look to Pickens here. Schrader told us yesterday, if you throw it in his direction, he high jumps 7-2. Schrader's got a man. Touchdown. Jeff Cleary. And a smile seldom seen on David Shula's face this year.
Jay Schrader is a guy that has a rocket arm. Look, he told us yesterday, if I can get out of the pocket, I think I can make some good things happen. It was not by design, but he got out and made a great throw.
Pelfrey gets this one through, 16-0 Cincinnati, but we have a flag down.
Schrader told us yesterday, we'll get this, he'll be holding on the kick. They'll back him up a little bit, but he told us yesterday, I feel a lot better if I get out of the pocket and then set. That time throwing off a dead sprint. Throws a strike.
Holding, number 82 on the kicking team. Will penalize 10 yards and re-kick.
Tony McGee, the rookie tight end, playing out on the flank. It's a hard job for a veteran, let alone giving it to a rook. But
well, they might be leading 15, maybe 16-0. He got it through 16-0. They have continued, however, to make errors as they have all year long. But the Bengals shocking the Steelers right now with 3:50 left in the first half. 16-0.
Well, when you're 0-7, and I said it earlier, you got to try to make something happen. There, Query just runs an option route, just get away from the corner, which happens to be Woodson. And Schrader buying the extra time. Woodson looking for Schrader, not seeing Query get opened up behind him. Let me tell you something. Adversity makes men, and prosperity makes millionaires. And I tell you what, that was a great combination on that one.
Here's David Shula's reaction. Jeff Query made one heck of a grab. I mean, he took that thing off the turf.
Set down, and that's the thing that a lot of folks say, well, this guy's not big enough to play or not fast enough to play. Chicago, I play with a guy named Tom Waddle, who, I mean, it's the same type of player. They do what they have to do to catch the ball. Here, realizing Schrader's getting out of the pocket, just turns and runs away from Woodson and makes a terrific catch, sitting there on his class.
Rod Woodson's not back deep right now as Lee Johnson kicks it off. It's Ernie Mills and Dwight Stone. Stone will get to the 20-yard line. Cincinnati excited.
Coming into this game, we talked about how Cincinnati kept doing a lot of things that would shoot themselves in the foot. Well, so far, it's the Steelers are the team that is kind of bumbling around a little bit.
A reminder coming up at halftime. It's the Domino's Pizza NFL Live Halftime Report. Jim Lampley, Mike Ditka will have scores and highlights of other games, plus a tribute to the senior Shula, David's father, Don, playing for victory number 325 later on against the Jets at the Meadowlands. That's all coming up at halftime. Steelers need to move the football. Barry Foster will get 10 right up the gut to the 29-yard line. Mike Brim, a corner, had to bring him down. Should point out, the Steelers were down earlier in the year against the Atlanta Falcons 14-0. They said, we didn't panic, and they ended up winning the football game 45-17. They have that kind of capability, Dan.
Well, they do, and I think the guy that brings that type of poise to this offense that they won't rattle is, of course, Neil O'Donnell. And we talked about how he said that, you know, I get my toughness from my father and my poise from my mother, and you know, I think that means an awful lot to those guys in that offensive huddle. John Jackson, the left tackle, told us yesterday, sometimes I got to say, hey, speak up. I mean, you'd think you'd be excited. And, okay, listen. No, he's very confident, very poised, and even if you're 16-0 down, I think if you get a touch right here, they're right back in the game, and he knows that.
Good throw by O'Donnell. Oh, they say he's out of bounds. Rod Jones had the coverage on Jeff Graham. And
did you see who made the spot call? Let's see if we can get that back. Watch David Shula run up and make the spot call. This is hysterical. Watch him here. Now, this is Shula in the coat right here. Watch him making that call.
Well, when you're a coach, you have to be part official also.
All he needs now is a parachute to make that call.
That was something last night, wasn't it? O'Donnell, all kinds of times. Got Green. Eric Green. He's going to score. No flags down. Eric Green, 71 yards from Neil O'Donnell.
Battled back from a little bit of adversity. From about the third game this season, he has been playing like a true all-pro. And what happens on a play like this is you decided, hey, I'm going to cover this guy with a safety. That's Darrell Williams right there in the center of your screen, who is beaten on that play. Now, if you've got a tight end that can run away from a safety, it's going to be hard to corral this guy. Very impressive play by the Steelers.
Big score for the Steelers. It's now 16-7 after the Gary Anderson extra point. Eric Green had a big game last time out against Cleveland. He was over 100 yards receiving. He had a 55-yard reception in that game. That was his long until this play.
Well, it looks like he ran a little square out. They ran a little pump fake. Darrell Williams fought on it. And again, if you've got a tight end that can run away from a free safety, it's going to be hard to get somebody covered. He's too big for a safety to mess with. He's faster than, the linebackers. What do? You try to institute some kind of a rule change to keep him out of the league.
I mean, he is enormous. He really, truly is enormous. 285 pounds. That means in the offseason, he's one of those guys about 305. I mean, he could wrestle your old teammate, the Fridge, and it's an even matchup.
I don't know if there's a guy in the league that he may not be able to overpower, and maybe not a guy that he can't run away with, run away from. You saw on that last play, Darrell Williams, a guy with great speed, he just ran away from him. You know what that does? That keeps defensive coordinators up all night for many, many days before a game.
Unbelievable. He went to Liberty College, Liberty University, and he was coached by a former NFL coach, Sam Rutigliano. Robinson and Ryan Benjamin back deep. This is Benjamin. He's got some niftiness to him, and he'll get it out to the 21-yard line. Deion Figures, the top pick, the cornerback out of Colorado, got down on special teams. Next Saturday, it could be the game of the year in college football. Heisman candidate. The heck with candidate. He's going to win the Heisman. Charlie Ward and the #1 ranked Florida State Seminoles in South Bend to take on the 2nd ranked Irish. That's Florida State and Notre Dame next Saturday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on NBC. And yesterday in college football, Florida State, no problem with Neil O'Donnell's alma mater. Notre Dame had the week off, so Lou Holtz, extra week to prepare for the Seminoles. That might not be enough, though. 16-7, the Bengals leading the Steelers. 2:40 to go before halftime. Here's an up route, just out of the reach of Tony McGee, who had a step or two on Chad Brown.
Well, Cincinnati says, hey, if you're going to get your big guy isolated on someone, we're going to split out our tight end, Tony McGee, and make you cover him with a linebacker. And that time, it worked perfectly. Here you see number 82, Tony McGee, just run away from Chad Brown. Now, if that ball is about a couple of inches shorter, pretty impressive toss up there.
Conjures up memories of the Houston game again. Wesley Carroll was open by about 5 yards, and Schrader got a little too pumped up and overthrew him. Could have been one of the differences in that football game. That time McGee can't hang on, and Kevin Green was draped all over him. Green's a fun guy, Danny. He's really your kind of guy, isn't he?
Well, he is. He could have played with us back in Chicago. I mean, this guy, the slobber and the blood and the spit and all that stuff. I mean, he likes that. And, he said Pittsburgh is more my style of football. Los Angeles, the surf, the beach. Hey, he's got some guys back in Pittsburgh called the Green Berets. They ride bikes, wear leather jackets to the game. He says, hey, they keep me going.
3rd and 10. Pittsburgh shows blitz. They come with it. Schrader has it batted, and it drops to the turf before one of the big fellas could get to it. Gary Jones.
Gary Jones came up the middle, and you'll see Harold Green, the running back, try to get a block on him, but Gary Jones just runs through it and gets his hands up. Now, if you bring somebody up the middle, an offensive guy would think, hey, I can block him easily with the running back. That time Gary Jones just ran through the block.
So Lee Johnson, who had an 18-yard punt his last time, will kick it to Rod Woodson. Cincinnati needs to cover this one well. Woodson, late fair catch at the 40-yard line. So Pittsburgh trailing the entire game with an opportunity to get right back in it. They're down 16-7, but they have plenty of time. 2:18 before halftime. And good field position. The lineup tonight on NBC, the all-new eyewitness video. Incredible footage of criminals caught on hidden camera, followed by an all-new Sequest adventure. Then Patty Duke and Martin Sheen star in a powerful thriller about a mother trying to bring her son's killer to justice. It's a suspenseful world premiere motion picture event based on a true story. A Matter of Justice tonight on NBC. O'Donnell, great catch. It's the big fella again, Eric Green. Steve Tovar had the coverage, but he got 9.
Ron Lynn, the defensive coordinator, said, hey, we're going to try some different combinations. So far, the only guy that's done a good job of stopping Eric Green is James Francis, the outside linebacker.
We've arrived at the 2-minute warning. The Bengals winless back to Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. Drew Goodman, Dan Hampton. The Bengals 16-7 over the 4-3 Steelers. The Steelers came into this ball game a game behind the Cleveland Browns in the AFC Central. The Browns right now trailing 16-0 at home at the Dog Pound to the Denver Broncos. And Pittsburgh has a tough go in November. They have a Monday night affair next week with Buffalo. Then they travel to Denver and also travel to the Astrodome to Houston. Much will be determined in the next 3 weeks. Barry Foster will have the first down. He crosses midfield to the 46-yard line of Cincinnati. Sheldon White, an extra defensive back, brought him down.
Well, you talk to the Bengal defenders, and they say, hey, the secret of stopping Foster is not letting him get his shoulders square. Now, he'll try to stretch the defense, and then when he gets you committed to going outside to stretch him out, then he'll square up on you and run through those arm tackles. That's what he did there for the first.
Ball's batted, nearly intercepted. Guess who? Darrell Williams, closing fast once again. Alfred Williams is the man who got his hand on the football, and we haven't talked much about him today, Dan.
Well, he's a guy that they really expect to be their pass rusher, and Ron Lynn said yesterday, you know, I really haven't had a great season so far out of my outside guys beating people. You know, maybe sometimes on the inside move, but they're expecting Alfred Williams to be their designated rusher and get there.
Good protection for O'Donnell. Foster swinging out of the backfield. Stays inbounds, very close to a first down. 1:14 left, and Pittsburgh burns their first timeout.
Recently,
the big second quarter in total offense. And they're back in the football game, 16-7, and they're on the move, 35-yard line.
Well, I'm a big believer in that the speed of the leader determines the rate of the pack, and the first quarter, Neil O'Donnell didn't look sharp. And remember, they had a second bye week, and Bill Cowher says, I hate that. We really feel like we're out of sync. Now they're warmed up, and it looks like he's firing that ball again.
First and 10, O'Donnell's got a screen set up, and again, it's deflected. This time it's George Hinkle, defensive end, the veteran out of Arizona.
Hinkle almost tipped it over to Drumrider, the nose tackle. Tim didn't even see the ball coming in at him, but that's what you've got to do against those screens. If you can't get great pressure, you've got to get your hands up and make that quarterback lob it over and buy a little bit of time for the linebackers to cover. You'll see on the right side, 98, Hinkle gets here, doesn't get cut, gets those hands up, and there you see Drumrider get out there and make the pick.
Down the middle, great catch. Darrell Williams absolutely put Dwight Stone into astronomy class, but Stone held on.
Dwight Stone has emerged as such a fine receiver. You know, you talk to the guys, you know, his nickname was Stoney, Stonehenge. You will see a guy with great concentration on this play. You go across the middle, you know you're going to pay the price. And a guy like Darrell Williams will pay you twice. And I tell you what, that was a shot, and Stone held on to the ball. Now, that's what you got to do.
You know you're going to take a lick.
Oh, let me tell you something. I've been in the game a long time, and that was a big league shot there to the head, and he still held on to the ball.
Dan, you mentioned they used to call him Hands of Stone, like Roberto Duran's old nickname, and he started believing it. But part of the problem was his vision was off. And finally, an assistant coach suggested he get his vision checked, and sure enough, he needed contact lenses.
Well, it obviously helped right there. He may be in double vision, but he looks like he's doing well. And it was a big league catch by Dwight Stone.
Now, are there corrective lenses for double vision? And Dwight Stone is up, and hopefully he knows what stadium he is in. 19-yard gain. What a catch by Dwight Stone. First and 10, ball inside the 14-yard line. Pittsburgh trailing by 9, but threatening with 59 ticks left here in the second quarter. Ernie Mills has come in. He's in motion to the right. Foster. Steve Tovar met him after about a 4-yard gain.
Steve Tovar did a great job of staying on the backside of that play. We talked about how Foster wants to stretch you out and then make you miss him by running back underneath you with breaking an arm tackle. You'll see they're loading on this side, blocking down. Now watch number 51, Tovar, square up right there on him. That is being patient and delivering a blow. When you can stop Foster in his tracks, you've got some pop in your pocket.
Clock's still moving. They'll snap it inside 20 seconds to go. 1 timeout remaining. O'Donnell, end zone, man's wide open, but out of bounds is Jeff Graham. 14 seconds left.
You know, I cannot believe we did not get some kind of a illegal pushing call here. Now, Alfred Williams gets a good amount of pressure on O'Donnell, and Leon Cersei, the tackle, comes back and gives him a shot in the back. Now, you know, those big guys down in the middle, the meat men, they really are second-class citizens when it comes to the rules. Because, I mean, you can be cut, you can be clipped, you can be held. But on that play, Alfred Williams was way upfield. I really think something should have been called on that.
O'Donnell, pressure coming again. Got a man, touchdown. Merrill Hodge, the veteran out of Idaho State. First touchdown of the year for the former starter. And you do hear some cheering in the background. Pittsburgh, about a 5-hour drive, and they travel. They travel well.
Well, that was a very impressive drive, and the play that made it possible, Dwight Stone's catch across the middle.
Anderson, Mr. Automatic, and it's 16-14. Just a few moments ago, Cincinnati led this thing 16-0.
Well, we talked about how Neil O'Donnell and the offensive guys said, you know, when we got behind in Atlanta, we didn't panic, and that's exactly what they did. They didn't panic. They stayed with their game plan. They got the ball to Green. They got the ball to Stone. And next thing you know, they're right back on top of this Cincinnati Bengal team. Here you'll see Stubbs taking a good move up inside, gets away. Williams on the outside, almost gets him. But O'Donnell threads the needle there into the back of the end zone to the vet, Merrill Hodge. Got to give O'Donnell a lot of credit. Buys a little time, keeps his poise, and makes the throw he has to enable him to get the touch.
And good news for the Steelers. The word from their bench, Dwight Stone will return.
We don't know what planet.
And he might not know what planet, but he's going to jog back out there at some point.
I did the NFL Fastest Man race a couple of years ago, and he was one of the contestants, as nice a guy as you'll ever want to meet. And he's deceptively fast. And again, you know, he used to have that rep. He's put a lid on that. I think from now on, this guy right here will become more of a go-to guy for O'Donnell. You catch it like that, quarterback will give it to you again.
Anderson keeps it on the ground. Ryan Benjamin scoops it up at the 12 like Barry Larkin would. And he gets it to the 35-yard line, and there will be 2 seconds or 1 snap left in the first half. So Jay Schrader comes out. Cincinnati's been in this position before, Dan. We talked about it off the top. They have led at intermission before. In fact, 3 times this year. It's the second half that has caused them a lot of problems. And Schrader will be content with the 2-point lead. He'll sit on it. Naturally, the crowd doesn't like it. They never do. So Cincinnati will jog off to the locker room, leading 16-14, but Bill Cowher's team has come back with 2 late touchdowns. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
But then all of a sudden, a couple of big pass plays. The big one was to Eric Green, the tight end. And of course, if you get him involved in this offense, it's very hard to slow down because you've got a great back and great receivers to take care of the outside, but he's the key.
They go counter, and Foster will get 4 yards to the 40. Tim Crumrine, the longtime nose tackle, made the tackle. Many people thought, if you think back to the 88 Super Bowl, actually the 89 Super Bowl after the 88 season, when he had that horrendous leg break, they thought, there's no way this guy will ever play again. He plays with a rod in his leg.
Well, he's one of those guys. He could be like the ramrod of a herd drive. I mean, he's the old tough John Wayne guy, wants to get down in there, slug it out. You know, he plays it like a Cro-Magnon, just in there and fight every play to the whistle.
That's a good matchup with Dermontti Dawson, maybe the best center in football. Eric Green, get out of his way, 44-yard line. You see a lot of Olay tackles when Eric Green's in the open field, don't you?
Well, not only is he 6'5", and, you know, there's a lot of exposed area down below the belt, but when he's 285 pounds and you're a 175-pound corner, you're not going to try to get in, you know, too much of your body in front of him. Here you'll see James Francis there, obviously in a man-on-man coverage, getting beat on the snap. And, of course, Green just finds a hole, sinks down, gets the ball, and gets the first down.
I liked Mike Brim there. He kind of grabbed a hold of his shoulder pad and held on. Johnny Greer and his staff trying to work something out. I guess a flag must have come in. Well, we didn't see it.
They have still kept the markers where they are. We'll see.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 86, offense. Illegal hands to the face. Number 69, defense. They're all set. Still second down.
Well, my Cro-Magnon friend Tim Crumry was working on Dermontti Dawson, the center, getting his hands up in there for a little leverage or dental work. I don't know which. But after Green caught the pass, getting up, he got into a little bit of a shoving match. Offsetting penalties. Do it again.
So it'll be 2nd and 6 from the 40-yard line.
He's got a little blood going. It's getting serious.
Good play. Check that. Steve Tovar scraped his way down the line of scrimmage and made the play from an inside backer position. They talked about, Ron Lynn did, he said, we can't let Foster get his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage. And they didn't there.
Well, that's a big secret. You know, how does he get his yards? What Foster does, he's very low to the ground. He's very powerful. He gets you stretched out, and then when you're out of position, he'll cut back inside you and make you break an arm tackle. And that time, Eric Shaw did a great job of getting him wrapped up.
Green's the man in motion. 3rd and 5. Oh, baby! Darrell Williams pays back Eric Green. He gives away almost 100 pounds, but he got the better lick there.
You go trick or treat, you might want to have Darrell Williams with you. He's fearless. If you will take a shot at a 300-pound tight end like that, you're ready to go.
Royals punting it deep. Robinson from the 10. Robinson with a gap to the 31-yard line. Big return by Patrick Robinson, brought down by Victor Jones. 16-14, the Bengals with the lead. They'll have the football when we return to Riverfront.
Mobile. By Citibank Visa. Now with your photo and signature on the front for greater security. Not just Visa, Citibank Visa. By Valvoline Motor Oil. People who know use Valvoline. And by Pringles. So fresh, once you pop, you can't stop.
David Shula trying to win for the first time this year. He was 5-11 last year. They were 2-0 in his first 2 ball games as head coach. Schrader, 5-step drops, got a man, and nearly intercepted by D.J. Johnson. He was trying to get it to Jeff Query. Oh, by the way, Carl Pickens, who is the favorite target of Klingler and Schrader, is yet to catch a pass, and he is coming off a big ball game down in Houston where he was over 100 yards receiving.
Well, that's really no mystery because Rod Woodson would probably be on every team's best receiver. Here you'll see Schrader just a little bit high there. Not really a good decision.
2nd down and 10. Pickens the man in motion. And he's the man with the football, and he has a first down for Cincinnati. in front of Rod Woodson. So on cue, Dan.
Well, you talk about Rod Woodson, and he's a guy, here you see him running with the best receiver. Now, that's a tough job. You got their best guy. I mean, if he goes in the locker room, you go with him. Here, Woodson is having to come all the way across the field and gets there. Now, on a pattern like that, you're hoping you get a little pressure. Greg Lloyd was coming, did not get there.
Here's Harold Green, brought down by Kevin Green, but he got 4, maybe 5. 49-yard line. Cincinnati, as we've talked about, has been pretty good in the first 2 quarters of football games. Again, they've held the lead or been tied in 4 football games at intermission. The trouble has been the second half. They've been outscored 87 to 29 in the 3rd and 4th quarters. Almost standing around wondering what's going to go wrong. But right now they lead 16-14. Green will get to the 50, and then Kenny Davidson will drive him backwards. Davidson, the left end, 4-year man out of LSU.
Part of the reason that they are fading in the second half is, Cincinnati's got a very, very young team. 30 of the players are 1 year or less in experience, and when you have a young group like that, it's hard to get them focused, and when they get behind, it's hard to keep them focused, and that's a tough job for David Chula and his staff.
They had a slip screen going. It was read well, and then a flag comes in from one of the linesmen. Query was well covered by Rod Woodson.
Probably be called against Cincinnati. Oh, it would be motion. That's a play that it takes an awful lot of orchestration.
Offense, number 62 was uncovered. The penalty is declined. 4th down.
Well, they said number 62 was uncovered. What that means is a man on the end of the line of scrimmage has to be on. He can't be off on both sides. And again, tough to get a play like that together when you've got a quarterback like Schrader who's just a second start.
They've been penalized 52 times coming into this ball game, only 29 for their opponents. Down at the 14-yard line. Cincinnati gives it back to Pittsburgh. The Steelers trailing on the road, 16-14. On most of these NBC stations, it's game 2 of our NFL doubleheader. Many of you will see the Los Angeles Raiders take on the Chicago Bears. Others will see the matchup between Don Shula's Dolphins and the New York Jets from the Meadowlands as Shula goes after career win number 325. Check your local listings for the game in your area. And there is his son, David Shula, just trying to get the first victory of the year. He said the team stayed together. He said they're focused. It's not like we've gotten blown out. We're young, we have talent, we're maturing. O'Donnell gives to Foster, and Foster rumbles for 9, maybe 10. Eric Shaw finally brought him down, but Barry Foster at one point in this game had 4 carries for 5 yards. Since then, he's ripped off a number of long gainers.
Well, this offense is built around the premise that Foster will be the workhorse, but we've got to get him a pasture. And how you do that? You throw the ball and loosen the defense up. That time Cincinnati went with a 4-man front. The obvious thing to do is pitch it and get it outside. Foster gets his shoulder square, makes it first.
He's now got 79 yards on 12 trips. Steelers MVP last year, and he went to the Pro Bowl. And he's a whole lot wealthier also. Eric Green slightly behind him, but one you figure you got to hold on to.
Well, he's got the talent to catch that ball. For his entire career, he's been a guy that really may have had a little bit of a knock as an underachiever, not catch the ball, not work as, but I think that that's behind him. That was a tough catch, a very tough catch. And O'Donnell knows that, hey, I should have let him a little bit more. And again, you've got to lead that pass. You've got to guess where you need to put it. And a big guy like that, it's hard to really believe that he's going to be that much further ahead. He's fast.
2nd and 10. Down the middle, over Ernie Mills' head. Pretty good coverage by Rod Jones.
That was just a keep everybody honest kind of a toss. A very hard pattern to connect on. It's a streak pattern. Still, good coverage.
Hard to outrun Rod Jones. He used to have world-class speed when he came out of Southern Methodist.
Well, he's been given a pretty bad knock about not being the great cover guy, but believe me, he's as good a cover guy as you'll find around this NFL. He can go.
3rd and 10. Twist up front. Steeler line handles it. But Neil O'Donnell can't find Jeff Graham. He kind of looked around as if to say, was this for me?
Well, I don't know if he was looking around to see if this was for him or
if he got short arms.
Safety Darrell Williams was. He saw what happened to his teammate.
Maybe it was a combination of both. Patrick Robinson had a 21-yard return last time he fielded Mark Royal's punt. He's got room again to the 40-yard line. So Cincinnati will have the football in the lead, 16-14, 9:56 to go when we return.
Citibank is doing
really are the big playmakers, and Green's made a couple of hits, but Greg Lloyd has been shut out so far by the big left tackle, the rookie Tom Scott.
Jay Schrader's checking off at the line of scrimmage. Good field position for the Bengals. They lead 16-14. Slant pattern, connected. Jeff Query in front of DJ Johnson. He'll pick up about 7 or 8. Let's go to New York and Jim Lampley.
Best laid plans of the Buffalo Bills momentarily coming a cropper in New England. Leonard Russell caps off a 73-yard drive that lasted 8 minutes 23 seconds in the third quarter, but New England on top 7-0. They are into the fourth, and the Parcells Pats are running through the Bills like water. Back to Cincy.
All right, Jim, thanks very much. Harold Green to the 50, maybe a first down. He needed to get it just over the 50.
On the previous play on first down, the quarterback Jay Schrader made an audible at the line of scrimmage, and that's one thing we talked about in the open was, you know, right now on a young club, I think you've got to get some experience out there, and that's what Jay Schrader brings to this offense. The guys around him, they don't want to say Klinger's not the answer, but they feel more confident because Jay Schrader has seen it all, can make those side adjustments, and he threw a perfect pass to get him in position to get the first.
McGee goes in motion. Lloyd coming on a blitz. Ball batted up. Lloyd trying to track it down. Gerald Williams got a big paw up in the air.
It's probably about 40 degrees, and believe me, Gerald Williams' fingers will be stinging because Jay Schrader can't pump that ball. Here you'll see Greg Lloyd being run out of the play there. I think he's one of the fine outside linebackers in the league, and he really hasn't had much of an effect on this game so far.
Scott's done a nice job. The rookie out of East Carolina. Guy who played pretty well last week in Houston, his first career start. Intercepted. DJ Johnson, poorly thrown ball. Jay Schrader was trying to get it to Query. It was ill-advised.
Jay Schrader may have went to the well a little bit too often. You set up the play action pass by being able to run the volley. Really gotten away from the running game. Just didn't sell anything here. A lot of pressure all over him. He throws the ball away behind the receiver. Perfect catch by DJ Johnson.
For the needy of the Cincinnati area next Sunday.
Greg Lloyd coming from up inside on a blitz. Forces the error throw, and again, that's the thing Schrader is in there to prevent. Don't make a dumb mistake when you're pressured. Get rid of the ball. I bet he wishes he had that one back.
First turnover for the Bengals. Cincinnati has to play defense. Pittsburgh in good field position. Stone was a step away from pulling that one in. Mike Brent, pretty good coverage on the post route.
Pittsburgh Copeland, the left end, got some great pressure on that last play. Now here you got a couple of #1 draft picks working against themselves. 92 is Copeland working against the first round pick of a year ago, number 72, Leon Saracen. That time, all Copeland. forces the bad pass.
And that line's done a pretty good job pass protecting today. Searcy at right tackle, Strelzik the right guard, Damani Dawson the center, Duval Love, John Jackson. O'Donnell's got a throwback working to Green. And Alfred Williams tracked O'Donnell down and threw him to the turf.
That was a throwback screen to the tight end Eric Green, and what happens on this deal, the tight end will turn the defensive end loose, and the quarterback has got to get away from it and then throw back before the pressure gets him. That time, Williams closing so fast, couldn't get it done.
3rd and 10, and Cincinnati, despite being 0-7, has the 5th-rated defense in the NFL against the pass. And O'Donnell this half is nothing for 6 throwing the football. They drop 7. And O'Donnell will throw it away. So Cincinnati is not hurt by the turnover.
This has got to be a great boost for the Cincinnati offense, because they played well till halftime, and then all of a sudden something goes wrong, and that was a great defensive stand for the Bengals.
You have to believe David Shula reminded his team at halftime of their second half woes, that this game is only 30 minutes old. Carl Pickens, fair catch at the 8-yard line. 8:08 to go in the 3rd quarter. The Bengals still clinging to that same lead they had at intermission.
That's not good enough.
Stu Goodman, Dan Hampton from Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. Bill Cowher was rather hot a moment ago at his top pick, his rookie Deion Figures. One of the things he said to him, among other things, was, "That ain't good enough."
Well, grammatically speaking, that's perfect from a coach, because, like I said, you cannot take anything for granted. You got a guy like that, make him make something happen. Let him get a chance. Fair catch won't get you much. Inside of 10 anyway.
Harold Green bouncing wide, and on a play that it looked like he'd lose a couple, actually picks up 2 or 3. Levon Kirkland, Kevin Green brought him down. And while we have pause, we'll go to New York and Jim Lampley.
To make the point in Cleveland, oh, how sharper than a serpent's tooth it is to let the H-back go free down the middle. In this case, Shannon Sharp, 33 yards from John Elway. The Broncos stretch their lead over the Browns back to 23-7. And we take you back to Drew Goodman.
All right, Jim. Denver has a way of winning at the dog pound, don't they? Oh, baby. Cornell Lake walked up on the line of scrimmage and met Harold Green about the same time that he took the handoff.
Well, again, part of the reason Schrader is the guy right now is, when you've got a corner or a safety coming off that corner, it's best to check out of that particular play. There's no one to block him. You've got to recognize that and not give the defense a free shot at your back. And Jay Schrader is a guy that's very experienced. He's just not being able to recognize things quick enough here in the second half.
Cornell Lake may be a strong safety, but at UCLA, he was an All-American and an academic All-American at linebacker. Schrader, short of the first down, depending on where they spot it. If they give him forward progress, and it looks like they will, Query will have the first down in front of 21, Deion Figures.
Again, Jeff Query, here's a guy, you don't think much about the week of the game. Okay, he's a wideout, we'll cover it. Boom, all of a sudden he's got 5, 6, 7 catches, and most of them really hurt you. Here, just runs the corner off, gets the ball, gets the first.
He was with the Houston Oilers for a while last year and then was cut. The Bengals gladly picked him up. Little misdirection, and the counter for Harold Green will get about 3 yards. Kenny Davidson brought him down. The crowd's enthusiastic today at the stadium, Riverfront Stadium. It was built in 1970, actually opened in 1970. The biggest story in town this week, however, was that Mike Brown said that unless he gets a new stadium in a couple of years, he might take the Bengals and move them out of town, which has caused quite a stir as you look at Mike Brown here in Cincinnati. And you heard on the field somebody said right up the gut. That's where Harold Green ventures. He'll be just short of a first down. It'll be a 3rd and 1.
Well, the big key for the Cincinnati offense was to do a good job keeping the Steeler defense off balance, and they went with a couple of tight end sets most of the day. Now it's Tony McGee and Chuck Bradley. Excuse me.
Eligible receiver.
And 47, David Frisch. And what they've done is been able to go ahead and get a good push at the point of attack. And when Harold Green puts his head down, makes his mind up, they've been able to rush the ball up in there.
They go wide and short, and they won't get there. Ron Woodson. He was in the backfield, and Harold Green will lose 4 yards, and the Steelers will get the football.
It's not a good decision to pitch the ball into the side of the field that Ron Woodson has foresaw. Not very good.
Just very quickly to continue that thought about Cincinnati and Mike Brown contemplating a move. The time is ripe for a lot of owners because of NFL expansion, and there are going to be a couple of cities that don't get franchises. Woodson comes up to the 40, and Cincinnati once again does a good job on special teams. And the reason he wants a new stadium is that this holds 60,000. He wants a stadium, maybe a capacity of 70,000. There are a few luxury boxes here. He wants to build a stadium with, say, 60 or more luxury boxes. Again, added revenue, and he cites the rising costs of running a franchise because of free agency. A lot of players making plenty more money. Your thoughts, Dan?
Well, I think that the salary cap will solve some of this. Of course, there is only so much money coming in, and of course, when you put a cap on it, then you know what your expenditure should be. I don't know.
Yeah. Big hit in the backfield. Alfred Williams grabbed Barry Foster and dropped him. Williams, the #1 pick a couple of years ago from Colorado. And despite his numbers being down a little bit in terms of sacks, they say he's actually playing better.
Well, he is. And here you see he's just forcing off the corner, makes the play. No one really blocked him, but, just a little cap on that one thing about the stadium note. It seems to me it makes a lot more sense to talk about a new stadium when you're 7-0, not when you're 0-7.
That's a good point as well.
A lot of deaf ears.
They fake the reverse to Stone, screen the other way. Well designed. Foster, open field. Barry Foster inside the 40, 39-yard line of the Bengals before Darrell Williams could drop him.
Well, we saw them try and go with this to the tight end earlier. They fake the reverse. They go ahead and slip Foster out there. Now, what this does is get Barry Foster outside where a lot of times you've got a big offensive lineman on a linebacker and Barry Foster one-on-one with a cornerback with no one besides that corner to help support him. That's pretty scary.
Bengals trail by 2, 16-14. We're in the third quarter. Just a couple of yards. Tovar was there, and also Eric Shaw got penetration, number 90, inside linebacker shooting the gap.
Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers offense is designed to where what they're trying to do is get you in a position where in the third and fourth quarter they can just go ahead and pound on you and beat on you. And that's really where this game has gotten to. Right now, O'Donnell has been effective, but what they want to do is go ahead and give the ball to Foster 25 times and let him pound away and beat his defense with that running game.
Ooh, big hit. They're going to call it a fumble. James Francis. Cincinnati football. We'll have to take a look at that again. That was one of those ones in a gray area.
Looks like James Francis, the outside linebacker, is a guy that they really count on to make big plays. You'll see him here. Of course, I was just talking about how they should run the ball, and they try to throw a little slip pass out there. Francis dislodges the ball. A loose impediment was covered by Cincinnati. Oh, reversing the call now. was saying he never had control.
That's interesting. They waited quite a while to reverse that call, and we could do our own little replay. Thankfully, they've gotten rid of replay, but it might have been inconclusive. Tough to tell.
The only thing conclusive was that James Francis knocked it out.
That's right. 3rd and 10, and Alfred Williams is coming. John Jackson started early. Neil O'Donnell never got the football. That was ugly from the get-go.
3 penalty flags are on the field.
False start. 72. Offense. Still 3rd down.
Well, that's the first break Cincinnati's gotten on defense in quite a while. You know, Leon Searcy is the right tackle, and he'll pull out. But, you know, here your defense makes a big play. You think you got the ball back for your offense. You don't. It'll probably get on your nerves pretty quick. And that time, Searcy pulled out because he knows Cincinnati will be coming here on 3rd and 14.
O'Donnell, who'd been better than 70% for the last 5 games, just 10 of 29. Complete. Ernie Mills will have a first down. Darrell Williams, the free safety with the tackle, but if you give an NFL quarterback that kind of time, he's going to find somebody.
You'll see a 4-man pressure here. You'll see Roosevelt Nix on number 95 here on the left, and on the right side, Crumray. What you've got to do is the guy at 95, Nix, has got to make sure the quarterback cannot step up. Crumray was double-teamed. Nix has got to get a push, but not give up that guts. There you see, too much time. You can't cover forever.
Alfred Williams was the man who finally got there. Foster, the workhorse. He'll go in the hole backwards. Doesn't matter.
We saw him carry a couple of defenders into the end zone backwards in the Atlanta game about 6 weeks ago. He can carry the ball and carry a lot of other things. Looks like Dermontti Dawson, the center.
Well, they can't lose him. You know, if you look back at the Pittsburgh Steelers over the last 30 years, they've had 3 centers. The last being Mike Webster, who was a 9-time Pro Bowler, and then Dermontti Dawson has taken over, and he went to his first Pro Bowl last year. And if you ask nose tackles around the league and defensive coordinators, they have the utmost respect for Dermontti Dawson, who played his college football not far from here. He went to the University of Kentucky. 2nd-round pick back in 1988.
Well, we'll take a look at it right in the center of your screen. Number 97, Mike Fryer, was on him, and then what happened was he was hit by Barry Foster. Here's Foster coming in. Oh, and John Jackson gets bent over backwards. I tell you what, they almost lost their offensive line on one play there.
I tell you, there's John. He's trying to work out the kinks. We visited with him yesterday. Isn't it funny how players dress? You get the skill guys, and they're wearing about $2,000 worth of clothes and about $100,000 worth of jewelry, and then you get the offensive lineman, and I'm not getting on John's wardrobe, but he kind of came in there, and he looked like he was ready to, maybe help move somebody or help a friend load a truck.
Well, I've never seen an offensive lineman that would win a fashion contest. You know, really, they have the mentality that they're workers, and they're going to wear work clothes, and that's what they are on the field. I mean, the offense players get an awful lot of awards and stardom, but guys like this right here, Dermontti Dawson, Jackson, who's playing super this year, I mean, they've got a lot of big guys up front that get the job done and make it easy.
Dawson might have gotten poked in the eye. The good news is he walked off on his own power. 73, Justin Strelzik moved over. Snapping the football. Now check that. It's as Foster rips to the 10-yard line and a flag comes in. The new center's Ariel Solomon, 69. Bill Cowher's intense, isn't he?
Well, you know, I think it kind of breeds that kind of intensity throughout the team. And man, I'll tell you what, I had an intense guy on the sidelines.
69, offense.
Ooh, one play. for the center, Ariel Solomon, for Dermontti Dawson, and he gets his name called. And that's not what you want to have happen if you're an offensive lineman.
Well, you know, you'd think the officials would give you a one-play grace period. Okay, you're not warmed up enough, you're cold. You know, don't watch him misplay. Let him tackle somebody. But sure enough, what happened?
So they walk off 10. It'll be 2nd and 20 back at the 33-yard line. Third quarter winding down. 20 ticks left. It's been a scoreless third quarter. Ernie Mills will have a first down on the dig route to the 10-yard line. Mills, the 3-year man out of Florida. Bremen Williams made the tackle. And that will be all for the third quarter. 22-yard advance. 1st and 10 at the 11 for Pittsburgh when the fourth quarter begins. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
The Ohio Valley since 1943.
By authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the NFL is prohibited.
15 minutes left from Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. The Bengals led at halftime 16-14. They still lead by that score, but Bill Cowher's Steelers have the ball 1st and 10 at the Bengal 11-yard line. Drew Goodman, Dan Hampton. And the Bengals have not played like an 0-7 team today. The Steelers need this football game. Talked earlier about how difficult the month of November is. They have a Monday night affair next week at home against Buffalo, and then travel to Denver and travel to Houston to close out the month. Pittsburgh does have the luxury. They're 4-3. There are 4 teams with a better mark in the AFC. They will play 3 of those teams before the season's over. Foster to the 7-yard line. Steve Tovar, in his first career start, has been pretty active in an inside backer position.
But the real key in being a great linebacker is making plays like that for no gain. That one was for about 3.5 yards. And when you're down inside the 10-yard line, I mean, every foot means a lot. And that's the thing. You can't be tentative. And Ron Lynn, the defensive coordinator, said yesterday, late in games, we get a little tentative. We've got to attack.
Foster will get very near another first down. I think he'll have it. It should be 1st and goal at the 1. Rod Jones saved the touchdown.
You know, this is a call that really amazes me. I mean, here you've got a guy in Barry Foster who has made a lot of tough yardage getting out of the offensive backfield and picking, you know, getting this little swing pass. Now, if I'm the guy that has him, I'm not laying back. I mean, we're on the goal line. I'm attacking. There, you see Rod Jones was way off and basically at the end zone and gave him almost a first down. You've got to take the initiative and get up there and challenge people when you get close to the back of your end zone.
1st and goal at the 1. 10th play of this drive. The Bengals defense have faced 24 red zone penetrations this year, and teams have come away with points 23 times. It will take a tremendous effort to keep Pittsburgh out of the end zone here. Foster, touchdown. Steelers go back on top.
Just a little gut trap play there, and kind of amazing. You knew the Pittsburgh offense wanted to pound the ball in with Foster, and their best interior defensive lineman against the run was not in there. Tim Trumley was not in on that series, and I tell you, you need all hands on deck when you've got Barry Foster inside the 10, and here makes it look pretty easy getting in.
Gary Anderson splits the uprights. 21-16, and again a scuffle breaks out. These two teams have met 47 times since 1970.
People around Flat Rock, Michigan have a lot of reasons to be proud. One of which is building the Mazda 626. Because even with dual airbags and a V6 engine, it's still called...
Brought to you by Mazda. Mazda, it just feels right. By John Newbean and Company, where we still believe our strongest bond is human. By Hewlett-Packard DeskJet and LaserJet printers. and by the American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
The Steelers with their first lead of the ball game. 13:38 to go in the fourth quarter. Gary Anderson to kick it off. 21-16. They lead the Bengals. And for David Shula, he has to be wondering if somebody can make a play for him, because they have been in a position to win games before this year, but haven't made plays late. Big lick on special teams. Rico Mack was down there. There's the backup backer, Rico Mack. A moment ago, Barry Foster.
You see right there, they ran a little trap. The center blocked back, the guard pulled around, and the defensive lineman, 97, Mike Fryer, just went forward. And I mean, he really took himself out of the play. And like I said, Tim Crumry is a guy who really is crafty inside. Kind of a puzzling play not having him in there. But still, Pittsburgh pounding it away.
Here's Pickens. He has just one catch. Schrader, the pocket rolled. And a flag is down in the backfield at the 15-yard line as Schrader picks up about 3 on the scramble. You know what play they wanted? Wesley Carroll on the backside. They had him wide open against Houston. As you'll see, they'll walk it off against Cincinnati. And Pittsburgh picked it up on film because Schrader's got that strong arm. And I guess a lot of times...
61, offense. Still first down.
When you're a defensive back, you say, well, quarterback can't throw it this far. He's on the other side of the field.
Well, I think that, you know, of course, Schrader is a guy that's very experienced. You really think that he can make a lot of good adjustments for you. The last couple of drives, he hasn't been able to get their offense in the correct position to advance it. And you know, I think on first down, you go ahead and you take some shots at him. You run a little specialty plays like that a little later. But, you know, the thing that Cincinnati did to get the lead was go right at the Steeler defense. They haven't done it in a couple of quarters.
Number 1.
Schrader calls a timeout, and he has a word for Greg Lloyd as he heads to the sideline.
Then you flip the hat. You're late, and you got the wrong hat. Sit in the corner.
Ooh, no respect at all.
Then you raise the hat.
Hey, this thing's still alive.
Wrong hat. Then you slam the hat. Then you spin the hat.
Oh, I need landing instructions.
Wrong hat. Then you smooth the hat.
Take it easy, will you? I think I'm having a heart attack.
You need the right hat.
Insurance star hat. Now I'll get some respect.
Folks around Flat Rock, Michigan have their own way of conserving energy. They build the Mazda 626, and they build it so it gets the best mileage of any mid-size sedan in America.
So what do they do in your town?
I don't think there's any family who wants to have to go to somebody else to feed their children. Hunger exists in every community. Hunger really cuts across every segment of society. We know what the answer is, and the answer is to feed people. It's going to take a lot to solve hunger in this country. We're grateful for American Express card member support in helping to provide a meal every time they use the card.
You can help. Use the American Express card to join the charge against hunger till December 31st.
Maybe you didn't know that the Mazda 626 comes with the best basic warranty in its class. But the people of Flat Rock, Michigan stand behind the car they built, and that's why we can too.
It's the game of the year. Number 1 Florida State beats number 2 Notre Dame. Heisman favorite Charlie Ward leads the Seminoles towards the one prize that's always eluded them, the national championship, while the Irish seek an unprecedented 9th title. Next Saturday at 1:30 Eastern, number 1 versus number 2, the showdown on NBC.
So after the timeout, Jay Schrader has the Bengals at the line of scrimmage, 1st and 20 from the 10. They trail by 5, 21-16. Blitz coming. Schrader avoids it and was trying to get it to Carl Pickens, but he was well covered. Carnell Lake was in the neighborhood. Chad Brown applied the pressure inside.
Again, the Steelers, you see Chad Brown, 94, at the center of your screen there, blitzing. forcing Harold Green to pick him up. Does a pretty good job, but still, they have confidence in that blitz. They know if they bring some people, those safeties, those corners can get on top of people and make a play on the ball and get a pick. Almost happened there.
Here comes the blitz again. And Jay Schrader has to throw it away. 48, Craig Thompson, the nearest Bengal. It'll set up third in a pretty good-sized county.
Okay, early in the game, the outside guys, Green and Lloyd, were coming. Now they've countered and brought the inside linebackers, Chad Brown and Levon Kirkland. There, Green drops off. Schrader has no choice but just to get it out of bounds.
One of the strange things when you look at the Steelers numerically, all four of their starting linebackers have numbers in the 90s. They need the 30-yard line. Ryan Benjamin is 18 yards shy. Greg Lloyd dumped him, and the Bengals will punt the football back to the Steelers with 12:38 to go.
Well, you know, Cincinnati came out, went right at the Steeler defense in the first quarter, made some good things happen. They got a lead, and then they went into a shell. I mean, what set that bad series up was the call on first down, a little throwback. It never worked, got a penalty. They had no chance after that.
Woodson back deep. Lee Johnson a punt. Woodson led the AFC in punt returns a year ago. Big punt. Woodson backs up to the 36. Great coverage again by the Bengals. Led by Fernandez Vincent. 21-16. 12:05 to go from Cincinnati.
Trucks are a spiritual thing to me. Something you can depend on. It's just like, you know, my best friend, I guess you might say.
Out on the ranch is where I'm at, and that's where I want the truck to work for me.
I need a truck that's rough.
Charles Davenport, the man who was down trying to walk off some sort of injury to his left leg. The Steelers have the football in the lead. Their own 37-yard line, leading by 5, 21-16. Along with Dan Hampton, I'm Drew Goodman. The Steelers trailed in this game at one point 16-0 in the second quarter. Neil O'Donnell statistically hasn't had a great day, but he's got them in the end zone 3 times. And he outruns John Copeland. Lucky for him, Copeland goes about 290. And he has sub 4.8 speed. Now that should be illegal, Dan. When you broke into the league, did you have guys 290 pounds running 4.7?
You know, not that big, and you're seeing so much more of these big guys. Miami sent a number of them into the league. Here, Copeland from Alabama, of course, but still big men that can move and force a quarterback out of bounds for a 2-yard gain. That's pretty dandy.
Foster. Big collision at midfield, but a first down for Barry Foster and the Steelers. Again, it's Darrell Williams, and you described him accurately earlier. He is absolutely fearless. He's not one of those oversized free safeties. He's 6 foot, 190 pounds.
But, you know, I think the way they're playing defenses now, you've got to have a free safety that you can put in a corner position and cover, and yet he still has the impact of a 210, 15, 20-pound safety when he comes up and hits a running back.
It's actually Leonard Wheeler also made solid contact. O'Donnell's got a man, and Graham couldn't bring it in. Sandwich between Rod Jones and Williams.
Kind of curious, you know, I really believe that, you know, a lot of teams say they want to run the ball to set up the pass. Well, Pittsburgh, all they want to do is pass enough to keep you honest and run the ball. And, you know, with 10 minutes plus here in the game, I really expected to see O'Donnell come out and hand it to Barry Foster. Now, on both first downs, he's thrown the ball, and he told us yesterday, hey, as long as we throw it on first, it keeps things loosened up for Barry.
Barry's got it. He's not going far with it. Rico McDonald, who is the leading tackler for the Bengals, but he lost his starting spot this week to Steve Tovar. But he's in there now. former Pittsburgh star, and for the 4th time against the Cincinnati Bengals over the last couple of years, Barry Foster's over the century mark rushing. Well, 17th career time that he has gone over 100 yards.
Well, the Bengal defense has a lot of high draft picks and very athletic players. They really don't have any real powerful guys. And when you face an offense like the Steelers, you need some power to counter their power.
They need the 40-yard line. Blitz coming. Man's wide open. Ernie Mills pirouetting inside the 35 to the 33. He looked like Rudolph Nureyev there.
Well, I thought Mario Lemieux.
And there's the number 1, John Copeland, who is still on the turf. 16-yard gain for the Steelers.
He's holding his left knee. Now, I got to tell you that I think that the future is very bright for this young man. It's a bad break for the Cincinnati defense, and of course John Copeland. You know, here you'll see him. He's rushing the quarterback, and then he's got a big motor. He wants to make some plays. Now you'll watch and see him turn and sprint like 35 yards. And this is deep in the 4th quarter. There's a big guy hustling like that. That's what made him All-American. That's what made him a first-round draft pick. But he's rewarded by hurting his knee. We don't know, of course, how serious it is, but he's up moving around. For Cincinnati to be a good defense, they're going to have this guy healthy, and he looks like he's shaking it off pretty well.
He a guy you can build around, Dan?
Well, I think so. And, again, let's remember that, Tim Cumberland said, one good thing about him, he's got a great attitude. He's fiscally and financially well off. He doesn't have to play hard, but he does.
Foster, the delay, caught from behind. Wheeler, the strong safety, came on a blitz and then recovered in time to make the play on the run. And we have another Bengal down. And it's Alfred Williams, the number 1 from 3 years ago.
Earlier today, I said that the Pittsburgh offense plays like it's got a plan that's not based on any kind of hospitalization. What I mean is they want to get after you. They want to pound on you. They want to beat on you. It's a very physical style of offense. They'll keep pounding. They'll keep pounding. They're trapped. They'll double team. They'll do all this. And down here on the bottom, on the left, you'll see 90 right here in the center of your screen. 94 looks like Merrill Hodge rolls up on his knee.
And again, good news is Williams is walking it off.
Yeah. But still, this kind of pounding that this offense dishes out, you'll start seeing a lot of guys get a little nicked here late in the game, and it's worked pretty effectively for the Steelers the last year and a half.
The Bengals are down 5. There's 9:16 left in the game. It's 2nd down and 7 from the 31-yard line. If the Bengals are to hang in there and have a chance late, they need a stop right here. Neil O'Donnell has struggled, 14 of 34, but he has a couple of touchdowns and 244 yards. Foster, the old Green Bay sweep. A couple of the big lugs out in front. Wheeler brought him down after a short gain. That's a tough play if you're a safety or corner coming up.
Well, it is. And Leonard Wheeler did a fine job of keeping Foster's shoulders parallel to the sidelines. Remember, we talked about how he liked to stretch it. Get outside. Now, at a point about right here, he'll cut it up. But Wheeler forces him to go ahead and try to turn the corner, and that's really not his game. Foster wants to stretch your defense and then rip those arm tackles and make some yardage.
Copeland and Williams back in the football game. 3rd and 5. Huge down if you're a Bengal fan. There you go, speed pitch. This is Leroy Thompson. Breaks a tackle, 1st down, Steelers to the 20. Leroy Thompson, who has a 100-yard rushing game earlier this year, he's been nicked. He's the 3rd down back, and he picks up a key 1st down.
Again, you're seeing a lot of guys get up slow. It looks like Alfred Williams was in pretty good shape. Watch 94 here on your side. He does a good job beating the crackback block. He's in good shape right here. It just can't get the man on the ground. And like I said, this kind of offense, it'll wear you out. And before long, you're just out there kind of going through the mode. Good call by the Steelers running that quick pitch back the other way.
Now Foster will see the football plenty. Inside the 15, he rips off 8 yards. Eric Shaw brought him down, but too far down the football field for the Bengals.
And again, looks like the Steelers have become the dominant part of this game now. They have begun to get that offense in sync where they can pound on you.
Last year he had 12 100-yard games. He's not a guy that rips off 180. Probably won't get you 235 or 237 like Emmitt Smith did a week ago. But he'll get you 110, 108.
Well, listen, he's a guy that if I'm a defense, his 110 will feel like 300. It'll hurt.
Forward lean, first down. It'll be first and goal at the 9. Copeland there defensively, and right now, Dan, you can feel the Cincinnati defensive front seven starting to wear down a little bit.
It really has, and you know, Neil O'Donnell, who I really feel has become a very efficient quarterback. He threw a couple of big balls early in the game in the second half, but since then it's been the offensive line and the ground game. You know, the big guys, John Jackson, Duval Love on the left side, Imani Dawson, Strelzik, Cersei on the right side. They're really wearing the front of the Cincinnati Bengals down.
Foster to the 3.
He'll be upset. He probably feels he had a walk in there.
Darrell Williams just did get a piece of his legs. Second and goal at the 3. And the clock winds down to 6:03.
Holding, 73, offense. Still first down.
Are they using invisible flags, or is our vision going? Because I didn't see that flag either. But it'll be holding against Justin Strelzik, and it'll move it back to the 19-yard line.
Well, you know, you start bragging on these guys, they want to try to show off. What can I say? But, you know, like I said, the offensive line for the Steelers has done a very fine job of doing what they're supposed to do. The Bengal defense knew they had to attack. They've nullified the pass rush, the blitzes, the different things they had to do, and now they're starting to wear a lighter defensive front down.
Foster will get about 3 or 4. Steve Tovar again making the tackle. Justin Strelzik just got his name called, obviously for holding. Now here's a guy, again, typical of offensive linemen. I shouldn't say that because that'll get me in trouble. But here's a guy that says, you know, sometimes I won't shower for 3 or 4 days and I'll just wear the same clothes.
Well, it makes practice a lot easier. You don't have those nose guards wanting to get in and tie you up a lot.
Exactly. Nobody's hanging real close to Justin midweek. Foster hammered down. George Hinkle led the charge. Rod Jones also there up from a corner spot. Cincinnati's going to call timeout. 4:50 left in the ball game. Third down and goal from the 16-yard line. 21-16, Pittsburgh leading. O'Donnell goes to the sideline, and of course they're in no particular hurry with the 5-point advantage, and Gary Anderson standing on the sideline, who could very quickly make it an 8-point separation and force Cincinnati to score twice.
Well, you know, the penalty has really given the Bengal defense new life. Of course, Barry Foster was down inside the 5, then all of a sudden now, you know, their defense is in position to force just a field goal. And again, you've got to really find something to believe in when you're a team that's 0-7, and you got to really fight, claw, do what you got to do, and get yourself in a position, try and win the game. Now, it's looking kind of bleak, but yet you've got to admire the fact that they really haven't given up. I mean, they forced them into a 3rd and long, and now they have a chance to get them off the field.
Gary Anderson, 5th all-time among kickers in accuracy, better than 77%. Coming up next on most of these NBC stations, it's game 2 of our doubleheader. Many of you will see the Los Angeles Raiders and the Chicago Bears, or some will see a classic matchup, the Dolphins and the Jets, and they always seem to put a lot of points on the game, on the board, so check your local listings for the game and time in your area. 3rd and goal. Green goes in motion. They go on the ground, and Thompson, big opening. He'll get it to the 5-yard line, and it'll be a chip shot now for Gary Anderson. Chip Plumrye, the nose tackle, worked his way all the way downfield to bring him down. And Cincinnati will call their third and final timeout. With 4:35 going in the football game. David Shula. Again, this one, if they don't come back and win, will be very frustrating. He's going to point to a 16-0 lead. He's going to point to his defense playing very well for the most part. They gave up a couple of big plays. And an offense, really, in the second half, unable to do things, though.
Well, and here's where coaching becomes very frustrating. You know, you've got all these cliches and you know, all the signs that say, hey, you're supposed to... But pretty soon you start, you know, questioning yourself, your planning, your preparation. And again, you know, they've been in position to win some games. They haven't gotten the job done. And he said, you know, my guys deserve better than this. They deserve to be better than 0-8. Nobody wants to be a loser. And it really, at this point in time of his second season, he said, is the most difficult he's had since he's gotten here.
Gary Anderson made 11 straight earlier this year. He's 14 of 15 this season. And this one, as I said, a chip shot. 24-yarder up and good. And the separation now 8. Pittsburgh 24, Cincinnati 16.
This is your life.
Dolphins coming up a little bit later, and maybe the only thing that can brighten this man's day is if his father comes up with victory number 325. He wished him good luck earlier.
Dad, I'd just like to say that I'm with you all the way. Wish I could be there. Hope that you get it this week against the Jets, and if not this week, then next. Good luck.
David Shula, 34, the youngest head coach in football, but he has been around the game, obviously, since his infancy. This is Ryan Benjamin to the 20-yard line, and that's all. And let's go to New York and Jim Lampley. Jim?
Here's a moment of drama in Foxborough, Drew. The Bills in trouble against the Patriots, trailing 10-7 behind their own 40, less than 40 seconds to go. Kelly bails them out with what turns out to be a 56-yard catch and run by Russell Copeland. It set up the game-tying field goal at 10-10. They're headed to overtime in Foxborough. Back to Drew Goodman.
All right, Jim, thanks very much. Bill Parcells has the Patriots improving. Cincinnati. They need to put it up, and Schrader goes wide, first down to Pickens, but they're out of timeout, so they'll have to get right up on the line of scrimmage quickly, down by 8.
Another thing that really comes into focus a lot more now, remember earlier we said little things mean a lot. Remember the extra point. Now it's an 8-point game. If it was a made extra point, it would be a 7-point, easily tieable.
That's a good point. Schrader knocked down as he threw it. Wesley Carroll was the intended target. It'll be second down. The only plus about that play is it stopped the clock with 3:51 to go. Pittsburgh, they needed this victory very badly because of who they have coming up in November, Buffalo, and then they travel to Denver and Houston. Bill Cowher's club did not, to their credit, wilt when they were down 16-0.
Watch Woodson in the middle here, freelancing.
Chad Brown got the sack. Cincinnati recovered the fumble.
Well, the snake man put the boa constrictor on Jay Schrader, forcing the fumble.
Tom Scott fell on the football. There's probably no air left in it. Scott goes about 350. Third down and 14 now. Chad Brown, who while he was holding out before signing the second-round pick, said, you know, I don't have to play football. I'm going to make close to $200,000 in the snake business this year with my partner. Schrader's going to run. He'll have the first down at the 46-yard line. But he's got to get his team on the line of scrimmage. Rod Woodson made the tackle downfield.
Early in the game, Cincinnati's offense made up their mind and went at this defense. They didn't try anything fancy. They just went at them. But see if they can go ahead and get back into that mindset and force something to happen.
Pickup of 20 there. Precious time evaporating right now. Three-step drop. Craig Thompson didn't get out of bounds, and he only picked up a yard.
Well, that's hard to believe. In the NFL, a guy would not have the wherewithal to get it out of bounds. You're fighting the clock. Give everybody a break.
Schrader has him at the line of scrimmage. The problem is he has to first call the play before they get it snapped. Good coverage by DJ Johnson, who is very underrated. He's done a good job this afternoon. 2-minute warning. Cincinnati trailing by 8 to the Steelers. Going to go from Riverfront Stadium. Pittsburgh leading 24-16, trying to improve to 5-3. The Bengals trying to avoid their worst start ever. 0-8 is staring them in the face. Drew Goodman, Dan Hampton. The Bengals shut out so far in the second half, and they have scored only 27 points, 29 points in the second half all year. Schrader rolls out of trouble. Flag comes in as the ball's dropped. Pickens was the man.
It looks like it probably will be defensive holding. Maybe not. There's a push-off.
Bill Cowher's indicating to his team they should decline the penalty. That makes sense. The ball was not caught. 3rd down and 10.
Pass interference, number 89, offense. It's declined. 4th down.
Well, Query was trying to push off, buy a little time, a little coverage up there to get the ball. But, you know, if you think about it, going into this game, Cincinnati had one real big play guy. That's Pickens. And Pickens really hasn't been a factor, and that goes back to Rod Woodson and a great coverage by Pittsburgh.
Check that. It's 4th and 10 now. Bengals, if they have any prayer, got to convert here. 94, Chad Brown picks up his 2nd sack. So not a bad debut for the rookie out of Colorado, getting his first career start at inside linebacker, and the Steelers will win this football game.
Well, again, I mean, Cincinnati really didn't do a lot of things to hurt themselves. They just didn't find enough good things to do to put them in a position to win.
And now it's time for the Hager Wrinkle-Free Cotton Super Play of the game. The Steelers were down 16-0. Neil O'Donnell looked to his All-Pro. Eric Green hauled it in, and the 285-pound tight end rumbled 71 yards, the longest career catch for Green, and the Steelers began their climb back. And 24 unanswered points later, they will go to 5-3, and the Bengals will go to 0-8, which ties their worst start ever. They were 0-8 in 91, 0-8 back in 1978. But again, this is not as bad a football team as that record would indicate.
Well, again, they just didn't do enough good things to put themselves in a position to win it in the 4th quarter. They missed the extra point. That really cut their throat. And, you know, you got to take your hat off to the Steelers. This is not an easy place for them to win. Cowher was worried. A bye week for the 2nd time of the season, and you know he didn't know if he could have his team focused here in Cincinnati, where traditionally very, very tough for the Steelers to win. But yet they get behind 16-0. They had the poise, the confidence. They came back, and again, you've got to think that this Steeler team has got some special things about it this season.
It was much more difficult than it was early in the season. 34-7, the Steelers won against the Bengals. They'll win today 24-16. It's been a series or a rivalry of streaks. The Steelers now have won 4 consecutive games after snapping a 6-game run by the Bengals. And Bill Cowher is now 4-0 against David Shula in the battle of the two youngest coaches in the NFL. Cower Steelers 5-3. David Shula's Bengals 0-8. 24-16. The final from Riverfront. We'll come back. The final thought after these messages.